Welcome to Science World, and it's Lawson here. Of course, we are returning back to the second part of the video, and in this video we'll still be explaining the electric field. Now, picking up from where we stopped from the previous video, right? I believe right now you might have your answer, but before we move on, hold on. Please make sure you like, you share, and then ensure to subscribe. Also, don't forget to click the notification bell so that you can get the beautiful videos like this whenever I decide to drop them. Now, of course, in this video, in the previous video, I explained the concept that the calcium, which is in this case, is neutral. Now, how about when this calcium tends to lose 2 electrons? Now, if you remember from that previous video, I said this calcium in this case is definitely going to lose 2 electrons, right? But the reason why it is going to be losing 2 electrons is not explained in the previous video. Now, why is it losing 2 electrons? The reason why it is going to lose 2 electrons is due to the concept of valence. Now, via the concept of valence, the right way to break this concept of valence down, of course, I like to say that when we have metals, and we know that metals usually have either 1 or 2 or 3 electrons in their outermost shell. So they have either 1, 2, or 3 electrons in their outermost shell. And if they have 1 or 2 or 3 free mobile electrons in their outermost shell, this electron is usually given off. So they give off these electrons whenever they have 1, 2, or 3 free mobile electron in their outermost shell. It's usually given off. Now, in the case of calcium, of course, you agree with me that calcium has the shell configuration of 2, 8, 8, and 2. And if you observe vividly from here, you will know that it has 2 free mobile electrons, which is going to be given off. So this electron will be given off. And since it's given out 2 electrons, in that way, the calcium has a way of writing its ion as Ca2+. So this is the ion of calcium, and this is the neutral calcium. Now, if you notice vividly in all of this, the entire concept we've been explaining so far in the video, you will notice that we are trying to give out electrons. How about when we try to gain electrons? So in this way, I'm going to push this stuff a little bit in here, and this time around I'm going to try to gain electron. So let's try to move this out of the way. I'm going to have to move this out of the way in there, and now we are going to try to gain electrons. Now, in this way, let us assume right now that I'm going to be getting the Cl. I'm going to be getting the Cl, which is chlorine, and you will agree with me that the proton of chlorine have 17 electrons. 17 protons, right? And the protons in this case, you have plus 17. And of course, the electron in this case, right? Definitely, the electrons is given to us as minus 17. And in this way, we can take the summation of the charge, and it's going to be 0. And since the summation of the charge is 0 in this case, we can say that chlorine in this state is neutral. Right? So it's a neutral atom. But how about when chlorine tends to gain electron? Now, how many electrons is chlorine going to gain in this scenario? Chlorine, on the other hand, is going to be gaining in this way. It's going to be gaining 2 electrons. Chlorine will gain 2 electrons, a single electron, I mean, in this case. I'm sorry about that. It's going to be gaining just 1 electron. And now, why is chlorine gaining just 1 electron? And the reason why chlorine is going to gain 1 electron, I'll take you back to the valence concept, which is here. And in this way right now, we have the non-metals. We have the non-metals. And for the non-metals, we know therefore that the non-metals, we have 5, 6, and 7 electrons in their outermost shell. These are the electrons that we have in their outermost shell. And I'm just going to be using the concept of the concept of the first 20 element to explain this principle. And in this way, they are going to be gaining electrons to complete their octet. Now, to complete their octet, if I have 5 electrons in my outermost shell, to complete my octet, I'm going to be gaining just 3 more electrons. And if I have 6 electrons in my outermost shell, to complete my octet, I'm going to be gaining 2 more electrons. And if I have 7 electrons in my outermost shell, to complete my octet, I'm going to be gaining 1 electron. So the concept behind all of this is we want to balance the outermost shell. And in this way, if you look at chlorine vividly, it is having the shell configuration of 2, 8, and 7. I'm sorry about that. I can make this really good. 2, 8, and 7. Right? And therefore, what is going to happen here is that chlorine is going to gain 1 more electron. Gain 1 more electrons. So it's going to gain just 1 more electron. And since chlorine is going to be gaining 1 more electron here, therefore, now the new chlorine which we're going to be getting on the other end, which is the transformation of our chlorine now, right, is going to be still having the proton of 17. But in this case, and that's positive, I'm sorry about that. Let's try to keep this clean and tidy. And that is plus 17. And now about the electron on the other end, right, is no longer 17 because we gain 1 more electron, and now we have a total of 18 electrons. And now we can take the summation of this data to get -1 electron, and therefore this is going to be Cl minus. So you can see that either to become negatively charged or to become positively charged, all we have to do is to talk about the concept of the electrons. Is the electron giving off, or are we gaining electron? So if we're gaining electron, of course we're going to be having negative charge. If we are giving out electron, we're going to be having a positive charge. So the concept of being able to explain why the electrons are being gained or they have been lost is the concept I've just shown you here in this video, right? So the concept is highly direct to explain why we have the proton, right, not being lost at all, but we lose electron or we gain electrons. So it's either we're gaining electron or we are losing electrons. And the concept of gaining or losing electron is definitely going to create where we start from, which is the electric field. So the electric charge, right, as they are being transferred or they are being moved because they are being stored, and thereby they create the electric field which we have in this scenario. So in the next video, we'll be talking about more concepts about this.